not for VHS tapes, then what is it? It's an 8-track tape player. Okay, well, a lot of people may not have ever seen one of these before. If you grew up in the 1960s with early 70s, you probably know what these are. The 8-track tape deck. So in the early 1960s, I believe 1963, Philips came out with the compact cassette. Of course, it was very crude. You could not record music on it at the time. It was meant for dictation only. And I believe it was a year later, in 1964, that the 8-track came out. Nope, yeah, pretty big difference. The 8-track is a lot bigger, it's pretty bulky, but it could play music. You see, the 8-track is really, actually, kind of like a contained reel-to-reel. Okay, not really, but in a lot of ways it is. And here's what I mean. You have the tape. Now the tape is the same width as a standard reel-to-reel tape. It's 1/4 inch tape. And it moves at 3 3/4 inches per second, the slower of the two standard domestic speeds for reel-to-reel tape recorders. So it is comparable to reel-to-reel, but that's where the similarities end. Now this one is from 1974. They were made all the way into the 80s. I do have one from actually from 1986, but they kind of really died off by the mid-1970s. We can see this is Learjet Stereo 8. Now, 8-track, but you note there's only 4 programs. So where do the 8 tracks come in if there's only 4 programs? Well, here's where 8-track comes from. Each program is 2 stereo tracks. Now, this 8-track deck came in the Panasonic. It's got a nice record changer on it. I also have a video on that as well. When I got it, it did not work. Somebody thought that it would be a good idea to jam this guy in it, and it was still stuck in there when I got it. Nice, right? Now there were also some other problems with the inside of it. Speaking of the inside, well, let's take a look, see what we have in here. It's a relatively simple machine. So we have our head in there, and that's the most important part. It's right there, you can see. Off here to the left, that guy right there, the two little metal pieces, those are to know when to change tracks. And then we also have our little pinch roller. There's something inside of here. It's a little catch that that allows the thing to start moving. So you can see it's turning. If I hit the program, the head moves. So it moves up and down the 4 programs, 8 tracks on the tape. Hence 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's take a look at the cartridge itself. There's really not a whole lot to it. It's just this big bulky thing. And there are these little felt pads inside that the tape presses up against. The pinch roller is built into the 8-track tape. Let's take a look at the inside of one of these cartridges, possibly, if I can get it apart. So, when we take a look on the inside, oh gee, do I still have tape on this one? I have a little bit left in here. Yeah, this one got all caught up in my player, so there's a little bit of tape that kind of got left in there. So here's how the tape works. There's usually a big loop of tape on here. It goes out of the middle of the loop, and then it goes up and around this little thing up here, out, around, down, through the pinch roller, and back on the outside of the reel. That's how the 8-track works. You can see why they had problems, developed issues pretty quickly. Not the nicest thing. And yes, they did sell recordable 8-tracks, and this is one of them. So we're going to take a little listen and see what they sound like, because we're going to be pulling sound directly from the 8-track player. Well, you probably noticed was that at first it sounded really good, and then when I started playing this one didn't sound good. Well, here's what happened. When I fixed this 8-track, I kind of did a little bit of a temporary fix. So the head still kind of gets off a lot, and that causes that little bit of a problem. So anyway, you get the idea. Well, that is 8-track, and I hope that may have helped to change your opinion a little bit, at least, on the format. Any comments or questions can be left below, and thanks for watching.